Hello, uh, dear viewers of YouTube, and hopefully some local people in St. Catharines have picked up my channel. Um, yeah, you may have noticed, but I'm not in the basement this time. But this is still the middle ground channel. Um, yeah, so I've got a story that needs to be shared, and this is a personal one. So, about 3 months ago, and I'm not going to name any names here for legal reasons, but let's just say the story probably won't be unfamiliar to some of my viewers. And if it isn't, I'd really like to hear about it, because something's got to be done against these pieces of shit. So yeah, this story starts about 3 months ago. Let's just say that, like a lot of people, I found that my living conditions, or rather the people I was living with, it was getting a bit hard to deal with. You know, during the lockdown, and I just needed a place to be on my own. You know, not have to deal with the same people day in, day out, that kind of thing. You know, just get some physical distance. You know, mental headspace. So I tried looking up a I tried looking up like a shared, what do you call them? Basically a group home. And I filled out the online paperwork letting them know I was looking for a place. And and God, I really hope this hasn't happened to other people. And so a place came up, a room to rent. It was in a group home that was way out in the boondocks in a brand new constructed neighborhood. The kind of place where it's like, the nearest thing you can walk to is like a convenience store. Like, that was it. And yeah, like there's like a convenience store within like 10-20 minute walk. That was it. It was way out, and I didn't want to go there because it was too isolated. And I walk everywhere, so yeah. So that was a major inconvenience, to put it bloody mildly. And furthermore, this particular group home had a serious problem with allowing me to see the inside of the place. Like, they wouldn't even let me see what kind of room or living accommodations I would be dealing with. They wouldn't let me see it in person, which was understandable because of the lockdowns, but they also wouldn't let me see it over Zoom. So I got really suspicious. So I was in contact with them for about roughly 2 days, and there are other people that are involved, but I'm keeping their names out of this at their own request. And let's just say that it became obvious to them that I wasn't interested, and I was suspicious because they wouldn't let me see the place. It was isolated, it's in the middle of bloody nowhere, they won't even let me see the inside place, they won't let me see the kind of room I'm dealing with, nothing. So I just told them, no, absolutely not. So what happened, I thought that'd be the end of it. Famous last words. So what ended up happening instead was ODSP decided, without even so much as giving me a single fucking phone call, to just take this place's word for it that I was living there. And I had been for some time. And the only reason I found out about this was because I noticed that my ODSP pay stubs had stopped coming in for no apparent reason. And I called my ODSP worker, who has been singularly unhelpful throughout this entire thing. And I am led to understand that this is the norm, not the exception. See, this is what's so upsetting about this. Like, some simple due diligence on ODSP's part, and none of this would have happened. So, what happened next was my ODSP worker called me, was like, well, we've got you registered as living at this group home. And like, I never spent a single night there. Like, I never signed anything, nada. And so, you know, she basically told me that a place that I hadn't been living for had been taking my paychecks for 2 months, and they hadn't even bothered to call me and ask me if I was actually there. So I check my bank account, and I find out that 90%, like, I was getting something like the vicinity of like $1,200 or so monthly from ODSP. In the last 2-3 months, that has plummeted, and $1,075 worth of that has been sent without my consent and against my explicit directions to, as well as the directions of other parties involved, to this group home. This group home, which is, they've acknowledged. They actually told us over the phone that they would send back the $2, the 2 months worth, but they were going to keep the first month because I'd signed an intent to rent. I never signed the intent to rent. I never did. And we got we demand me and my advocates demanded that ODSP show us, you know, pony up this intent to rent. We got it, and it was literally just chicken scratch signature. That's all it was. Like, anybody could tell it was fake. It was a very bad fake. So this thing had been put through their system, and apparently not one single person had even thought to question it or just to confirm it, you know. And because of that one piece of paper and total lack of even simple due diligence on the part of ODSP, I have been shafted for 90% of my ODSP check in the middle of this pandemic. If I wasn't living with my parents, I would have been fucked. I would have been out on the street. Simple as that. And my ODSP worker does not seem to give a flying fuck. In fact, ODSP overall does not seem to care about this. And we have gotten every possible level of local authority involved in this. We've MPP, fraud squad, police are involved, the ombudsman's involved, all these people. And ODSP is still absolutely refusing to budge. And for all I know, they're going to send my paycheck next month to these people as well, just out of spite. I've got my first pay slip back from them, my pay slip back from them, and it says there in black and white. It says that they sent it this month. They sent it. This is after being very specifically told last month that I was not living there, nor had I ever lived there. They sent it this month anyways. So they just completely ignored my wishes. This is where ODSP is doing now. They're just, somebody tells them that they're not living at a place and that you're sending 9%, that you're pissing 90% of your paycheck down away for them, and they just ignore you. Apparently that's ODSP now. So I don't know how many people have been made homeless by this kind of unbelievably cold-blooded lack of giving a fuck on the part of ODSP. But from what I've seen online, this is normal. People on ODSP are treated like shit, normally. And given that because of our wonderful liberal government and Ford being Ford, we've lost 50% of the population is currently unemployed, and most of the rest are employed in jobs that they simply can't afford to lose, for obvious reasons. The housing market's gone to absolute shit. A lot of and of course there's a sudden surge of houses being bought up in massive blocks by people who basically want to turn the Canadian housing market into the American housing market. So basically, they want to make they want to make sure that nobody can afford a house ever. And that rental, and with the way rental rates are going right now, it's basically impossible for people to pay rent as well. And that's when they're not having their paycheck stolen. So I really want to know. Contact me below. I want to apply as much pressure as possible on these fuckers. And I want to be able to help other people who've been through this. Because the people who've been helping me are at their wits' end. My mother has had, she's had breakdowns. There's no other way to put it. She's had breakdowns. And completely understandable. ODSP has shown absolutely zero consideration. They've just simply refused to return my phone calls. It took a whole month to get my worker. You know what? Fuck it. I'm going to give a name. Jasmine White. That's her name. That's the name of my ODSP worker. If anybody else is with this woman, let me know. She's my worker at St. Catherine's ODSP. And she literally told me that they were sending my paychecks to a place I did not live at. And then she mysteriously became unreachable for the next month. And the only reason she started returning phone calls again was because we got an adult protective services worker on it. Otherwise, she just probably never would have returned a phone call. But apparently there's basically zero accountability on ODSP's part here. My mother's been driven absolutely insane trying to find a way to get this money back. This money that was stolen from me. We've got evidence. We've got it literally on paper. We've got 2 slips of paper. One, the forged signature, and 2, the pay stub that clearly says, auto deposit rent, and it's the exact same number, exact same amount of money that was sent to the last 2 months. So clearly they sent it to this place, and this group home has admitted, like they said, we'll give you 2 months worth back, but we're not going to give you the first month because you signed an intent to rent, which was fraudulent. Please, if anybody else is being put through this, and I have no reason to believe that it not be, because the company that owns this group home owns 8 other places as well. And my mom is a PSW, or rather, she's been a PSW for 30 years. She's retired. And she says she saw this kind of thing happen all the time when she was at work. Says this is nothing new. So yeah, we need to stop this, because who knows how many other people they've done this to. People who are far more vulnerable than me. People who don't have a roof over their head. People who don't have caring parents and a mother who's willing to fight tooth and nail for them. Yeah. There is no middle ground on this issue. This is a straightforward theft, negligence, and failure to, just failure. Failure to give a damn about another human being. So I really want to know. Comments below. I really want to know. I really want to know. Has this happened to you? I want to get some sort of group action together about this, because these fuckers will not hold themselves to account, and apparently it's quite difficult to get anybody else to hold them to account as well. At one point we were even told that if there are any charges of fraud were going to be pressed, ODSP would have to do it, which is ridiculous, because ODSP is in on it, or at the very least they don't care. Now, either way, they're not going to hold themselves accountable, because these places never do. It's the same old story, you know. It's like asking the police to investigate themselves. How's that going to work? So, yeah. I'm going to actually leave my email in. I'm going to leave my email in the comments section, and I'm going to leave my email in the show notes. I'll put that in later after I upload this video, because I can't do that from the phone. But yeah, I'm going to leave my email in the notes, and I want people to let me know if this has happened to them, and I want to form a coalition against these, because this is horrible. Hope you're safe. Hope you've got a roof over your head. Bye.